I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So what I did, and you'll see later, is I made a PowerPoint to kind of go over the different sections of Slack. But for the purpose of this, I'm actually going to be in Slack to show you everything. But then I'll share the PDF of the PowerPoint I created, which has the steps also in that, so that you'll be able to have that to save then. So let me just share my screen.
Jenna, would it be helpful if we were in Slack as well, or if we have it on?
That's up to you. You can be if you want. Like I said, or you can do it later on with and follow along with my steps that I have in the PDF. But either way, whichever would work for you. Hi, Mike.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you. Afternoon here, huh? Hi,
Yeah, I got a few seconds left of morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
All right. So I was saying I made a PDF with some steps that you guys that I'll share on the affiliate site with the video of this. But for the purpose of the presentation, I'm just going to be right in Slack to show you what I'm going over. So this is just very basic kind of overview of what you can do in Slack. I actually created a new account, a new person, just try and see what it would look like for one of you when you join Slack. This is the web version. You can have a desktop version that you can download to a Windows computer or a Mac computer. They have a desktop app version. They also have mobile app versions that you can use. This is the Chrome. I'm on Chrome, so this is the online version of Slack. So when you first get invited and go into Slack, you have a get started page here that kind of goes over your first step of what you can do. So I'm kind of just going to follow through these steps and show you a little bit more in detail of walking through this. And then we'll just go from there. So the first thing that you see in this get started menu is send a message. So the basic way to send a message, if you can communicate with the members of the Slack channel, of all the channels, any member, or you can communicate within the channels, which you see over here on the left side. So to start a new message, you have this create button up here on the left in your menu. And if you just click on that, this is how you would start a new message. It gives you some suggestions right away of people. If you scroll down, it kind of starts the list of the people that are members. Or you can, search for someone and then it brings up their name. And that's just how that you would start a message. Or if there's a channel, you can click on one of the channels and it takes you right there. So once you start a message with someone, it brings you, if you have a message, let me do. This is down here where you would send your message. And as you can see, there's different, it's kind of like a word processor. So you have the option of bolding or italic, strike through text. You can insert any code, like if you would need to copy something and put it in, you can insert a link. You can have a bulleted list or a numbered list there. And then you can see now that I have this conversation with Mike, this left side menu is basically your menu of go-to. And down here in direct messages, I now have my conversation with Mike that I can go back to at any time and pull up from the side menu under the direct messages. Okay. So that's how you just send a message to people and how you would get to your different chats that you have. Slackbot is kind of the Slack robot. It gives you some suggestions of things that you can do. and it alerts you of things that happen in the channels. You can ask it questions and it'll help you. You can have a chat with yourself. So if you want to leave yourself notes or reminders or to-do lists, you can have that in the chat for yourself, with yourself there, as kind of just like a reminder or list or journal or affirmations or pretty much whatever you want in there that you can refer back to. Okay. So if we go back to our get started here, the second thing on the list is add a profile photo. And it's prompting you to just add your photo here. But if you don't, if you're already in Slack and you've lost this get started menu, how you would get to adding a profile picture is up here on the right. This is your user. So you would click on that and edit your profile. You go to edit profile. This is where you can change your name, what your display name is. You can add what you do, your phone number for reference, because people will be able to pull this up and see that. And if you want to add a photo, you just click upload an image and it will pull up your files, your file browser, so that you can add an image. Save changes, and then you have your profile photo. Caused it to think.
Jenna, can we ask questions as you go, or do you rather we wait?
No, go right ahead. If you have a question, go ahead.
So the only people that can see this are the Trusted Advisor Network people. Is that correct?
The people that are a member of the Slack dashboard, yes.
Okay. So like if you wanted to set up another one separately, how would you do that?
You would have to, there are different channels. So when you're invited to our Slack, our Trusted Advisors Network Slack, you're a member of that dashboard. You can start a new one and invite people to that. You could be invited to other ones. I'm only a member of Trusted Advisors Network. So that would be a question that we could put out. I know Doug and Tracy Lundquist use Slack for other things. I do not know if your profile carries over to the other dashboards or if it's independent of each dashboard.
Okay.
So if you were a member of another Slack channel or dashboard with another company or friends and family, I'm not positive if the profile carries over or if that's independent, but that's something that I can find out for you.
So then I could just set up a new dashboard. Is that right?
Yeah, you can.
So, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just curious because, you know, candidly, until this came up just a month or so ago, I'd never heard of it myself. And I said something to my son and daughter-in-law, and they kind of laughed at me because I've been using it for like 7 years in their business or something. So.
Yeah, it's a good way to communicate easily with teams rather than, as opposed to, you know, having emails go back and forth or getting lost. It's a good way to just kind of have a quick reference, and you can, as you'll see, as I'll go on to show, you can share files and things like that as well.
Okay.
It is a good communication for. Okay, so next would be to get notifications. So if you wanted to be notified when someone posts something, this is again up here in your preferences. You go to your preferences in your account menu, and the first thing on there is notifications. So if you enable desktop notifications, that's going to pop up in your notifications menu when somebody posts something in a channel, or if somebody chats you privately, a direct message, you'll get notified of it. As you can see, there's different options for your notifications that you can set up. The keywords, if you wanted to be notified if somebody talked about leadership, you could put leadership in there, and then if that pops up anywhere in any of the channels you belong to, you'll get a notification about that. You can allow them, you can turn them off, you can mute sounds, you can get your notifications, you know, set the times for when you want to be notified. all these different options in here for notifications. And also in preferences, you see there's some other options that you can go through. You can customize your sidebar menu over here and kind of choose what you want to see, how you want to sort it. There's different themes, so if you don't like those colors, you can choose different ones. Messages, you can, it's just a bunch of your preferences that you can go through and choose and customize to your liking for your experience on Slack.
Okay, I've got another question for you.
Go ahead.
Because I'm kind of looking at, because right now I only have it on my phone.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so where do you find preferences on the phone? And does like that preference, so like if you did it there on the desktop and set preference, when you got a notification, does it pop up on your desktop? And then does that analogously do that on your phone?
Yes. Wherever you have notifications set up, you'll get notified on the computer, on your phone. They will all sync if that's how you have it set up.
Okay. So how do you get to that notification thing on your phone?
On down at the, what kind of phone do you have?
I have
Okay. So in the bottom, there's the home, DMs, mentions, and you.
Yeah.
That's where you go to, and then you'll see those same options as you do up here in this menu.
Where it says direct messages and then it says you.
Uh-huh. The bottom menu,
Yeah.
all the way to the right, you see that?
Yeah, now that I'm in, it says this space is for you.
No, you're in the messages.
Okay.
There should be a menu along the bottom of your screen. And there's 4 items: home,
Yep.
direct messages, mentions, and then the one to the far
Oh,
right.
the one you're talking about, you. Okay, I got it.
And that should be where you can find your preferences and notifications and those things.
I got it.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to stick to going with the browser version of going over it because I'm not sure. I have an iPhone as well. I'm assuming it's a little it's mostly similar on an Android. Does have an Android app, but even the desktop app for Slack is slightly different. It's mostly the same, but it's a little different, and I assume it'd be a little different on a Windows as well. So some of these things might not be exactly where I'm showing you, but the functionality and the items should be available, maybe just not in the exact same places.
Okay. Yeah, that was a very polite way to tell me to not ask any more questions.
No, no, not at all.
I'll go on mute.
And just for the record, Jenna, I have an Android and it's in the same place in my app.
Okay.
And then I'm in 2 Slack channels and I couldn't remember, so I had to open up my desktop. And my profile is different in both.
Okay.
So what I have listed in my Trusted Advisors network is not the same, although I could add it, but it's not the same. It doesn't automatically roll over.
Okay, good. Thank you, Bertha. That's good to know.
I just learned it too. So.
Okay. All right, so that's basically it for notifications and preferences. Channels. Channels is the main functionality of Slack and where most of the communication is, besides the direct messages that you have with people. If you, I think when you join, it automatically adds you to the first channels that I set up when I set up Slack and invited everyone. To get to the channel browser, to see them all, you can see them all here. But if you click add channels, it takes you automatically to the channel browser and it'll show you all of the ones that are there. And if you're already joined, and if you're not, it gives you the option to join that channel. Okay, so like I can click join and it'll just automatically add me to those channels that I'm not a member of. And they're set up basically by topic. So the channels are different topics of conversation. So the affiliate ideas would be ideas that you want to share with the network. If you have any things that you want to share with other people, that's the shared. Facilitation is just facilitation ideas that you may want to share with other affiliates. General and knowledge center are pretty much the same, just any kind of random topics. We created the LinkedIn people planning and processes channels to for you to share your posts that you are posting on LinkedIn so that other people can easily see and possibly connect, go to that post and engage on it and engage with it. And then the TA channels are for, that's trusted advisors communicating with the network for the events. Successes, those would be affiliates sharing successes with the network. Okay, so when you're in, I'll just go to general here. When you're in a channel and you want to respond to someone, or if you see a post here, when you hover over it, over here on the right-hand side, you see these reactions or your options for reactions of what you can do. You can mark it as completed, taking a look, nicely done. If you want to do another reaction, you have this whole plethora of options that you can do. Reply in thread. So what that does is it creates a reply directly to a post. It's kind of like commenting on a post in LinkedIn. It keeps it all under that one post rather than just being another separate entry into the channel. So now that I posted under that, rather than it being a separate post, you can see that there's a reply to this one, and that's called a thread. And then if you're part of a thread, it tracks it over here in the left-hand menu. So if you're in a conversation with somebody, rather than having to, if you go into affiliate ideas and a month ago you commented on somebody's post, rather than having to scroll through, if you want to go back to that, it gives you, the threads would be an easier way. It keeps them all contained for you. So if you're in a conversation with somebody, rather than it getting lost in the channel, you can easily find it by going to your threads. If you want to tag someone and get someone's attention so that they get a notification that you've mentioned them, you can use the @ symbol. When you type that in, it automatically starts bringing up the list of people that you can scroll through, the members, and then you can just start typing a name and you can see that it pulls up. This option is also over here in the bottom where it says mention someone. To click that, it does the same thing. If you want to add an emoji to your post, you have the plethora of options it gives you to add an emoji in there. If you want to attach a file, you can do that with this little paperclip symbol. It gives you the option to use automatically. You get Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, or you can choose from your computer, and that'll attach it right to the post. This little flash lightning button is your shortcuts. And if you click on that, it kind of gives you some suggestions of what you might want to do. You can play around with that. I haven't tried most of them, but. Does anybody have any questions on channels? So then the last thing really with Slack on the basics is you can, like when you click on the attach, there are apps that you can connect to your Slack, like Google Drive or Zoom. And if you want to check out all the ones that you can add Google Calendar. So if you go to up here in the channel where it says Trusted Advisors Network and Administration, you can click on Manage Apps. And not sure how this works on mobile or the desktop because it opens up in a new window. But you'll be able to see that there's a bunch of different apps that you can add. So if you connect Google Calendar, that's basically just for you, unless you share it with other people in the team. There's, and it'll alert you when things come up on your calendar right in Slack, and you can see what's on your agenda for the day. If you connect Google Drive, it gives you the ability to share files that are on your Google Drive, same with Dropbox, and it gives you the ability to do that right in Slack. And once you have those added, it shows up down here in your menu. So that's another thing you can play around with and add some different apps and see ones that you use that you think might be beneficial to have in Slack. I think having the calendar in there kind of depends on how much you're using Slack. If it's something you use regularly, then that's beneficial because it kind of gives you a reminder of things. If you add Zoom in there and you wanted to Zoom with somebody, you can easily share a Zoom link or start a Zoom right from in Slack. If you're maybe like me and Mike, if we're in Slack, I can start a Zoom with Mike and share the info right in here. It makes it easier. I forget where it's. So up here in More on your menu where you have drafts or threads, in More, you can see things. If you want to see who's all a part of the network, you can go to People and User Groups, and that'll give you a whole list of everybody that's a part of the network too. And you can also see that the members in a channel. If you're in a channel, there's this info button up here on the right, and that shows the details of the channel, and it'll also list all the members of that channel. And the little green dot means that they're online. The white circle means they're offline. Okay. I think that's about all the basics I have to go over with Slack. Does anybody have any questions on Slack?
Jenna, would you please, we talked about getting notifications.
Uh-huh.
Where do we remind me where we get that? How do you get to that?
In the top right-hand corner, you see the little icon.
Yes.
It's in your preferences. So.
Oh, okay. All right, that's where it is.
Yes.
Up there where you edit your profile.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
There we go. In preferences.
So Jenna, what's the compelling reason for an individual to use Slack?
It's an easier way to communicate, quicker. You can connect with more people easier. It's like a big chat room kind of, as opposed to emailing back and forth with someone or even on social media. I mean, get kind of lost with everybody else. This is specifically just the network. So it's just an easy way to kind of be in front of everyone or have a conversation with multiple people at once and quickly. Like I said, you can share files, you can share links. You just want to say hi or post something funny, you know, that knowledge center, you know, type of thing. It's just an easier, more quicker way to have a conversation and with more people rather as opposed to like email or social media.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I signed up when you first deployed it for trusted advisors, and I don't think I've gotten anything from it. I've not seen any threads or anything, so I just wondered, does it really work?
It takes getting used to. So for me personally, I have tried to get Wendy and Tammy, then them to use Slack for like our conversations, because we do very much emailing back and forth, and then my email inbox goes crazy. But that's what they're used to. So that's what we've stuck to. It takes, the commitment to use Slack, that you're going to decide to get on there and communicate in that way. It's mainly used by teams in offices, where they can collaborate easier, especially now, like with working remotely. You could hop on in Slack and get in a chat or a channel about ideas, and it's real time. So if someone's posting, it's like having a conversation with them quickly, and you can go through a lot of ideas or share images, for like a graphic team or something that they're sharing ideas. I think it's just, and for this network, it's just a different, making the commitment to get on there and utilize it. That's all.
If I can add to that, it's or to respond to the question in a different way. As with any of these things, including starting with email back in the 1990s or whenever it was, a long time ago, right? If the people you work with use it, it's great. If it's just one more thing and not in a way mission critical, right? If it's not pivotal or critical to your work, it just becomes one more thing. And I think that's sort of what we're grappling with, what we hear.
Yeah.
Jenna and company, they use it. So that's great, right? But I think for most of us, it's just one more thing. But every now and then, it's another reference to, did anybody say anything about this? And I think for 90% of us, so maybe it's just like, what is this?
So I turned notifications on, right? And they've been on for 100 years. And I've not gotten a single notification from Slack, either on a computer or the phone. So maybe I did something wrong there. If I got notification, I would be reminded to go see what's going on, but nada. So I don't know. Maybe.
Jenna, it's Nancy. One of the things I just noticed about notifications, I mostly look at Slack via my cell phone. I'm a dedicated cell phone user and hardly ever turn on the desktop. And I went through the app on the cell phone. When you look under your picture, there was a box to set up notifications. Wendy stepped me through that. I had that turned on and I wasn't getting anything. Well, now when you're on, I actually just went to the desktop, and in the desktop, there's a different selection for notification there that actually says, like, basically send all notifications. So while I thought I had notifications set up, I didn't. So I wasn't getting them. So I'm thinking there's probably something there that you have to look at the desktop as well as your cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, I use both. And I have my notifications on. So when anybody posts anything in Slack, I get all my notifications on my phone. I do not have it set up on my computer to post notifications on my computer, but I do get them through my phone.
Now I have an Android. I don't know if that makes any difference, because I had turned on that notifications button on the app on the cell phone, and I have not gotten any notifications. So now I noticed there was actually a different choice on the desktop that basically said sort of notify of everything. And I just now turned that on. So I'll see if it works. But with setting the button on the cell phone, I hadn't been getting anything.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, because I had my cell phone turned off and my desktop turned on. Even though on a desktop, there's a thing that says use different settings for your mobile devices, and I did not check that box.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Sounds like it's growing.
Yeah, and it might be the difference in the version, depending on, what version, if you have a Windows app, desktop app, or if you have an Apple, and then depending on your phone, sometimes the things sync well, sometimes they don't. I'm, like I said, I don't have that many different devices, like types of devices. So for me, I can't really test that very easily. But I know with other things, it works that way. So.
Cool.
And
Thank you.
I've been in a mixed Windows and Apple environment, and it worked just fine. But I guess you just need to know where to. You need to know where to
Yeah.
mark the box.
Jenna, it's Bob. In the top bar, they have applications, and one of them is Mailchimp. What's that all about?
This is mine. That's my Chrome bookmarks. That's what
Okay. All right. All right. Now I understand. I have one of those too. So
yeah. All right. So are we good with Slack? Is there any more questions on Slack? Because if we are, I'm going to move on to LinkedIn.
good.
Good? Okay. Okay. So like I said, this is the PDF I created, and I went through, this is my Slack tutorial. So I will save this. I will add this with the video on the affiliate network so you can download this. And this walks you through everything that I just walked you through. So you can have a reference. Okay. All right. So moving on to LinkedIn. This is basically what I did was kind of come up with some ideas for how you can create more engagement on your LinkedIn. So if you're the idea to get more followers and more engagement, more people to see your posts. The first thing is when you post, using an image, having an image or a video is way better than just having text. People tend to engage more when there's an image to go with it. If you're using a video, LinkedIn likes when you keep things on their platform. So if at all possible, it's best to upload a video directly to LinkedIn. There are image, or there are size and length thing. You can't make it too long or too big. There's I can't think of the word, sorry. So if you can, if at all possible, if you have a short enough video, it's best to post it right in LinkedIn. You can use emojis in your post, not necessarily a smiley face or anything, but if you create a list, there might be like a checkbox emoji that you want to put in there or something similar in that, so that it just creates a little more visual interest. People tend to engage more with that as well. You always want to include a question. An open-ended question is best to try and start a conversation. That gets people to, if they're interested, they want to answer your question, they want to engage, they'll comment. And using hashtags, which is the #, also helps to get your posts seen more. The hashtags, what they do is it's a searchability. So if somebody is if you're on LinkedIn and want to search things on leadership, you could search the hashtag leadership and it would pull up any post that has that hashtag leadership on it. So for searchability, that's good. It gets you seen more. You try and stick to a maximum of around 5 or 6 hashtags. People tend to use way too many, and then LinkedIn thinks they're spamming. So if you just try and stick to a maximum of 5 where you have the most relevant keywords to your post. Okay. Okay, the other thing with getting engagement is liking and commenting. LinkedIn actually likes when you like your own post. It gets the ball rolling. It shows that that there's an engagement with it. People tend to like posts that already have likes. You can use other reactions. They have, other than like, you can love it, care, insightful. There's a bunch of different other reactions that you can use other than just the like button. You can also answer your own question. So the open-ended question that you posed at the end of your post, answer that in your comments. Just put your answer down there, and then you can tag some other people that you think would enjoy your content, that it's relevant for them, and would also join in the conversation and comment back. You don't want to just, spam random people with tagging them, or use the same people all the time, because chances are they're not going to want to engage every single time that you post something or tag them. But really only truly if you think that it would be relevant for them and they would enjoy the conversation.
So if someone is following you, do you need to tag them?
Only if you're tagging them gives them a notification that it's kind of like you called them out, you called on them. Like,
Oh, okay.
Hey, Mike, what do you think about this? So that you see that and answer. So no, you don't have to tag people. If people follow you, they could see your post. Not necessarily that they will, because just because you follow someone doesn't mean that LinkedIn's going to show you their posts. They show you the most relevant content. But the more engagement that you get on your post, the more LinkedIn is going to show it to your followers and other people. So to tag someone, it's the same as in Slack with the @ symbol. And as soon as you put the @ symbol there, it starts with suggestions of people. You just start typing their name and it should bring them up for you. And as you can see in the picture here, I have like a little snapshot of trusted change agents, and the links are in blue. So they kind of stand out. Those are tagged people. If somebody comments or responds to your comment, remember to also engage with those. So like or otherwise react to their comments. Keep it going. Maybe reply back to that comment. Make it like a whole long conversation, not just a one reply. LinkedIn shows more engagement, and LinkedIn's algorithms really like that. Press the button. So for engagement, it's also good to comment on other posts. So while you're posting and trying to get engagement on your own posts, you should also be commenting, engaging on other people's posts as well. Anyone in your network. LinkedIn sees that you're engaging, and they like that because they don't want to, they see that you're engaging with other people's posts as well as how your posts are performing. So you engaging with other people actually helps your posts perform better as well. Don't try to post too much. Once a day is fine. Or if you commit to twice a week, that's fine. Just stay consistent and make that twice a week. So you can pick 2 days of the week. Just try and be consistent with it, because the more consistent, the better. It's better to engage with your posts or try and get engagement sooner, right after you publish them, rather than later. So if you're going to like and comment on your post and respond to your question, try and do that very shortly after posting it, and not go back to it later or the next day or something. It's better to do it right away. So links. LinkedIn likes it when you keep people on their platform. They don't like it when you drive people away. So if you write a blog and you want to share your blog post, it's actually better to publish the article right in LinkedIn than to drive them away to your blog site. LinkedIn doesn't like to share those posts. You could put a link to your blog article in that article that you wrote that you're publishing on LinkedIn, And I'm not saying that you shouldn't publish on your blog, but I think that rather than sharing that blog post on LinkedIn, copy it and create it as an article on LinkedIn and keep it in LinkedIn. That way you're sharing with your network on LinkedIn and you're not driving them away. But you could possibly in that article then share a link to your website, to your blog pages, if people were interested and wanted to read more. I read a little thing yesterday that kind of is a workaround for posting links. So if you find another article or video that's engaging, that you find interesting and you want to share with your network, I found that if you write the post, so if you have a little 2 or 3 sentences that you want to include with your question, your open-ended question, and a picture to go along with it or an image, publish that, just that part first, and then go back and edit it and put the link in afterwards. Because apparently LinkedIn's algorithm works the first time you publish it. So if it sees your post without the link right away, it works better than if you post it with the link right away. Does that make sense? Did I explain that right?
Yeah, Jenna, it does make sense. I had also heard that if you want to provide a link, that you do your post, and then in the comments, in the first or second or third comment, add your link.
I saw that as well. The problem with the comments is it can get lost because the way that LinkedIn does its comments, it does it by most relevant. So even if you're the first comment on there with that link, it doesn't mean it's always going to be the top one. So you have the issue of it getting lost. So if you actually do get a lot of engagement on that post and a lot of comments, that link might get lost. So that is one option. You could do that. However, you run the risk of that link getting lost in the comments. That's the problem with that.
Yeah.
But that is another option because I read that as well. The best workaround I saw was that first publish your post without the link, and then there was no time. It didn't specify that you had to wait any time. You could just go back right away, edit it, put the link in, save it, and do it right away after. But apparently, as of right now, because LinkedIn's algorithms do change, but for right now or within the last few months that what I read was published, that worked. Doesn't mean it will forever, unfortunately. So. And that's really all I have on the basics of LinkedIn and getting engagement as well. Does anyone have any questions on LinkedIn?
One of
You
the
gotta put
things
those
that-
notes up there as well on the
Yes,
affiliate.
this is all part of the same PDF, so yes, they will be there as well.
All right, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
one of the toughest things on LinkedIn is to find a group that's really active. And, you know, I've signed up for several groups, and when I get on there, I maybe post something and I go back and look, and I've been the only one that posted for the last week. Maybe sometimes they post only twice a month.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like people come to I've been working with associations, business associations, who all have a LinkedIn page, and they're not being used. How do you find is it just hunt and find, and is it just a matter of trial and error until you find one that's active?
For groups?
Yeah, groups.
For LinkedIn groups? Yeah, I think a lot of people go to groups to try and sell themselves, not really gain information from it. So yeah, I guess that is more of like a trial and error to find a group that's active and, you know, willing to engage with other people. But from what I've read and what I've seen on LinkedIn, a lot of it is just people join groups to try and kind of find clients, or not clients, but maybe jobs or people or things that, and it's not really for sharing information.
In many ways, it's like networking. So you it's not like it's a hit every time you talk to somebody, right? On the contrary, right? So I was just asked here specifically to Tan. I know you've been, it looks like you're very active right now on LinkedIn, have been for a couple of months. And I'm trying to like you guys as much as possible and add a comment or two. What's your experience with your effort here in November and December?
Well,
It's
started
good stuff. You know, I like it. So.
Yeah. And I've been posting the same stuff for over 2 years, probably on LinkedIn and Facebook. And I mean, most of the stuff also applies to Facebook. So the steps for engagement, it pretty much applies to all social media. But no one, because we weren't engaging with ourselves, and we weren't, I wasn't using best practices of putting a question on there for engagement. Once I started doing that, and then us four as a team started, even just the four of us starting conversations in the comments, it really helped a lot with getting seen, because if you go to your LinkedIn page, it shows you the stats and how many people have visited your page or engaged with your posts and that sort of thing. This past month, we've slacked off, haven't been commenting as much, and the stats are down. They're not, it really, you can see that the engagement is there. What I did notice is that the quotes that I post with just the picture, like I had those get way more, seen way more and engaged with way more than the links, because I also post links to articles. And that goes to my research of LinkedIn does not like it when you send people off their platform. So the ones that just have images and things like that, they perform better.
And people have to read.
Right.
Jenna, it's interesting that you say that about the quotes, because I was remembering from my first year or so that I was a member of Trusted Advisors, that on an email, I think every day, a quote and an image came out from Trusted Advisors, and I still saved some of them. Then I think there was a licensing thing or whatever, and they stopped. But that was very powerful, and it's interesting to hear that other people thought that way too.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose, Jenna?
Purpose of what? I'm sorry.
Of trying to get active on LinkedIn and get more, I don't know what you called it, more activity, more visits?
Yeah. Mostly what you're trying to do is be a thought leader on LinkedIn. So you want your network to know that you have the knowledge on what you do. So you're not trying to sell yourself, because you're not, you shouldn't be trying to blatantly sell your services on LinkedIn. But what you're letting people know is that you have knowledge about this stuff. You can help them with things. They have problems, you have solutions. And by you posting insights on that, you want people to like that and see that. And the more you post, the more they get to know you. So you write in your own style. Your questions are going to be different than somebody else's questions, and how you pose that and how you respond to that. And it gives people an insight to who you are. So you're kind of, the more they see of you, the more they read of you, the more they know you, and the more they're going to want to work with you. If they have an issue that comes up, they're going to say, hey, I know this guy. I see him on LinkedIn. He knows about this stuff. I'll contact him. So
has Trusted Advisors mapped this LinkedIn activity into the stoplight chart of the buying selling process? Because I think we're still in the gaining favorable attention stoplight, right?
Yes.
At best.
Yeah.
At best, because it's not even a one-to-one, we don't even know half these people.
Correct.
And so then the next step would be an introduction. Is there a way to craftily do that without selling yourself? Or is it just like throwing a bait out in the pond and hoping as a fish comes by and sees it?
No, because while you're posting, trying to get people to see you, like I said, you should also be engaging with people on their posts too. So you have your network of people that are following you. people that don't follow you, the more engagement you get, they're also going to see your posts and may decide to follow you. You should see things from people that you don't follow. But you can answer questions for people. So while they're getting to know you and what you're posting, you can also go on other people's pages, company pages, you know, answer questions that they might have, post some insight for them. It has to be kind of an active part for you to try, you know, and start conversations. That's kind of like the introduction. I mean, but there's people that in the network that have gotten clients via LinkedIn. Doug has, that I know offhand. I'm pretty sure a few others have as well. It's just a matter of getting your network of people, of seeing them, to build their trust, for them to get to know you more, for them to know what you do and believe that you can help them. And
Jen, I have a question relative to that. Is it better to start a conversation or a post on your individual site or on your business site? Or does it matter?
I'm not 100% on that. I think if you're interacting as you, and you are your business, I would say probably better interacting as you yourself.
Jenna, this is Nancy.
Yes.
I made a kind of a commitment to myself after you all did the last LinkedIn presentation to really say that 2021 LinkedIn is going to be my tool of choice for building my business. Now, that being said, for the past like 6-7 years, I post articles or sayings on all the social media, and I've gotten a little attention, but not a lot. And so I was fortunate. I saw this book on Amazon. It's called LinkedIn Unlocked. Unlock the Mystery of LinkedIn to Drive More Sales Through Social Selling by Melanie Dorado. And in her answer to that question, she said, when you're interacting on LinkedIn, it's like you said, you want to build the relationship as you and not your business, because this is a relationship selling tool. So it's important for people to get to know you. Now, what I'm doing with the book, if anyone's interested, I have to listen to the whole book before I do some of the things, but it is chock full of ideas to prepare you to figure out how to best post content on LinkedIn. The first thing she has you do is identify your top 10 ideal clients. And then there are literally 13 questions for you to research. Like one of them is, make a list of exactly what they will lose if they don't solve their problem. The idea being, working through these series of exercises will help you figure out what would be more appropriate content that will cause those people to get in touch with you. And then one of the other things, just listening to the one thing I had forgotten in my past, I had spent a lot of time working with databases, but I forgot LinkedIn is about Boolean logic. It's figuring out how to use the or, the and, the not, using the quotes so that when you're identifying something specific, you enter the phraseology to correctly get the people you're looking for. And then one of the first things in the book, it gives a list of 10 questions for you to assess how you are in LinkedIn. And I really, even though I've been posting these things, like, do I get like 10 profile views a day? No, I don't. So obviously it's up to me to go back and revisit things with LinkedIn if I intend to really capitalize on this particular tool. So that's what I would encourage people here on the call to do. It's something that I don't think you can just play with it, because trust me, I've played with it for years. I post the stuff, but I'm not getting the kind of traction I need.
What's the name of the book again?
The name of the book is called LinkedIn Unlocked by Melanie, Melonie, Dorado, Dodaro. And ever since I got it, I just got it last week, she sends out several emails a week that also include different tips on how you can effectively use LinkedIn. And personally, the style of the book is something that works for me. It's very factual. It's very processed. She suggests you do this, this, and this. And that's kind of what I know I need to be able to figure out how to use LinkedIn.
Would you like to, can you share that book title and author on Slack?
Sure, I can do that. Oop, I lost you.
That'll be a good experiment to see if our notifications are now working.
Yes.
Okay. What would I put it under?
There's a LinkedIn thing on there. Isn't there?
LinkedIn.
I mean, what are those tabs, or what would you suggest, Jenna, that I put it under?
LinkedIn.
There's 3 LinkedIns though, right?
Okay.
There's LinkedIn people,
I'll go
planning, and
through.
processes.
Yeah, or the marketing one.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know, I thought, okay, I needed help after the last conversation, and I'm structured. I need some guidance, so I'm finding it very fascinating. And
It sounds like it'd be really helpful because it is important to know who your ideal customer is.
Mhm.
And, you know, just like who you're finding in networking, you're also trying to find those people on LinkedIn, and how you talk to them, you know, comes across in your posts just like it would when you approach them in person.
I mean, it's been kind of, I've got 8 out of my top 10 clients right now identified. I've been actually going through like the Baltimore Business Journal, looking for people who've been promoted to executive positions. And one of their responsibilities is going to be to either implement or revisit their programs dealing with inclusion and diversity. And so I find those names and I toss them out in my BNI group, and then I look on LinkedIn. And right now I actually have direct connections with 2 of those people I want to meet. Had I not gone through that exercise, I wouldn't have been aware of that.
So Jenna, I have to run, but one last suggestion for trusted advisors to consider.
Okay.
Gather up 3 people, and I think you said there were some people that had actually gotten clients off of LinkedIn. And let's hear from them, maybe even mapping how that fits into the stoplight chart.
Okay.
That'd be for me, that'd be very useful.
Okay. You got it.
I mean,
Thank
for
you, Jenna.
consideration.
Yes. Thank you, Mike. Does anybody else have any questions?
Thanks, Jenna.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Have a happy new year, everyone. Thank you.
You as well.
Yeah.
Happy New
Take
Year.
care.
Thanks.